Hey guys, it's JD, back with another pointless video, freshly baked for your Japanophilic consumption. Don't worry, I'll never say that again. So the topic of today's video is what makes anime so cool. Yeah. Like, unironically. You know what?
I'm going to church!
As a dude that dreams of making my own anime for all you weebs out there, it's been a topic at the front of my mind for a long time. Sure, we know it's growing in popularity, and as much as I rage about having to subscribe to 17 different streaming services, it's actually great that anime is now receiving such Western exposure that everyone's competing to license it, hot off the proverbial Japanese grill. It's great that anime conventions are growing in terms of crowd size, and in fact, more anime conventions are popping up all around the country. It's great that even if people don't particularly like anime, they still at least know what it is these days. But what about the why? What's so attractive about it? If I want to appeal to these crowds, that's something I need to understand myself. So after a bit of research, a lot of introspection, and a bit of asking around, I put together a bunch of words.
Yes, science!
Alright, so before we can understand why anime is cool, we gotta back up and try to understand why anything else is cool. I found a few different takes on this. Once upon a time, this guy named Raymond Loewy established the Maya principle, which is an acronym for most advanced yet acceptable. Essentially, the takeaway is that things must be somewhat familiar to avoid scaring people away from it, but just different enough to pique someone's interest. Can this explain why we like anime? Well, sure. Partially. The storylines feature characters that we liken to ourselves, people with personalities, struggles, and preferences just like us. That's familiar, but it's often told with exaggerated circumstances and extremely stylized art. Yet that art is often regarded as more realistic than Western cartoons would have you expect. In that way, even the appearance is somewhat familiar. It seems to fit right into that different but not too different category. But this didn't satisfy me enough, so I kept digging. It's actually surprising how many people study how to be cool. Not that I know anything about that. That's right, Brian from elementary school. Eat a wet broccoli fart. I'm cool now. The internet man taught me. Anime is cool now. I hope you choke on the batteries of your Hatsune Miku hologram. That's irony, Brian! In a TED Talk, Caleb Warren used the phrase appropriate autonomy, which basically means to be different within acceptable boundaries. Sounds pretty familiar. But something I like to compare with the difference between Western animation and anime is your average everyday sedan versus a sports car. Besides the fact that they can... Why are they so damn cool? Admit it, you roll up on someone in a Ferrari, you're gonna feel like a total badass. Even though you have no intention of using its horsepower, and the only way you're making that stop at Wally World is if you go home first and come back in your normal car with normal storage space. But it's totally worth it just to cruise around in a supercar, right? But why? Well, some people say it's because it's exclusive. To own one, you need to afford one, which means you're gonna feel like part of an exclusive club. Anime isn't expensive or rare, but once you get into it, you're bound to become involved in the community, which has developed an entire subculture full of esoteric terms and references that you can only understand if you're in the know. Someone outside looking in might feel like you're speaking an entirely different language, and that gives us weebs a bit of our own exclusivity, albeit in a different way. Alright, we're onto something here, but doesn't this all seem a bit beside the point to you? Because it does to me. While saying something is cool is subjective, it's almost universally understood that it carries a particular meaning that's hard to put into words. Like describing color to a blind person, it's hard to pinpoint the experience of seeing something cool. You might say it's a bit like a fighter jet versus a biplane, or a jaguar versus a pig, or a literal slice of white bread versus Yamcha. To me, the artwork in anime is like the Ferrari body style of animation. It's just cool. Combine those stylistic choices with emotional themes that respect the viewer's maturity, and you've got something that follows the Maya principle. Something appropriately autonomous. Something exclusive. But not every anime actually delivers on the story, or other enriching pieces like soundtrack, voice acting, etc., so whatever's at the core of our fandom must be a bit more basic, for better or worse. We comb through heaps of trash, and trust me, no one hates anime more than anime fans, yet we still wade through all this garbage just to find a couple gems. Like moths to the flames of a raging dumpster fire, we punish ourselves with recycled, mass-produced dookie until we finally find some worthwhile entertainment. We choose to search here for that. And I think that's because the visuals are just plain cool. The art is like the wingman, and the story is the closing game. Without a good story, you just move on to the next one, but without the wingman, there can be no game at all. In conclusion, I think it's safe to say that what initially draws us to anime as a medium is the art style, plain and simple. But a good story will stick around with us forever. That's as far as I got, but let me know what you think makes anime cool in the comments below. If you disagree, I really want to know because I pour my heart and soul into practicing animation and storytelling to entertain you. I want to make the coolest, most memorable art and story I can possibly muster, so what my target demographic thinks is super important to me. If you enjoyed this weird rant of mine, then show me by clicking that like button down there. And if you fancy some weeb-style animation, that's kind of what I do, so ring that bell if you're curious about what I can do as an animator. Until then, see you next time. Shut up. Okay. I love you. Look at this. Look at this. You thought I was lying. It's every time. Every time I start recording. Yeah, I know you want down. You want attention until I pick you up.